Hey guys, welcome back to another video on my WR250R. Today I thought I would do what's known as the TPS adjustment, which stands for Throttle Position Sensor. And the reason I'm doing this is because the bike has a really bad tendency to jerk you back and forth when you're on and off the throttle. Especially at low speeds, like right in first gear, and it's pretty annoying. It's especially bad when you're standing up and you're trying to manipulate the throttle. It really jerks you back and forth a lot. So you can use the clutch and get around it, and that's what I've been doing for the last 1,000 miles when I first started noticing it. But it's not always the most convenient thing to do, and supposedly there's a fix, which is to adjust the position of the throttle. And reading the forums online, it does sound like it's actually a little tricky to get to. It's buried somewhere in here somewhere. I'm not sure yet, but I think it's behind here. And online, there's not many videos really explaining how it's done. There's a few pictures I found, but the explanations are pretty limited. So today I'm going to dive ahead and try and do the adjustment and make a video so you guys can see how it's done. Alright, so first I'll show you what the instrument panel displays for the TPS setting. The way to get into this, if you don't know, is with the key in the off position, press and hold both the reset and select one buttons down, and while those are being pressed down, turn the key on. Keep them held down for another 5 seconds or so. Then you'll see on the screen here it's going to say diag, as in diagnostic. Once it says that, you can let go and then press and hold both of them again until you see this screen. And this is telling you the position of the throttle when it's all the way closed, 16. And if I open the throttle, it goes to 96. Now, a lot of people with their stock bikes, that's the setting that they have. But they say on the forums, if you bring this number up to 17, 18, 19, then the throttle snatchiness improves a lot. So that's what I'm going to try to do, is basically just raise this number, and this number will also go up as well, but it doesn't sound like that is really the problem. That's really a problem. I think the idea is to just get this number to go up. Hey guys, so to get to your TPS sensor, you're going to want to take all your side plastics off, and then you're going to want to take your tank off. Now, so far I just unscrewed the tank, but to get it all the way off, you want to come down here, and you'll see this little locking mechanism, and it's got this little black plastic piece that pivots. So push that all the way down, and then you can push in on these two blue pieces on the sides, and then it will pull back off of this pipe. Now when you do that, you're going to spill some gas, so you might want to put a paper towel under here and be ready for some to spill out of this, and also for some to spill out of the pipe. Just a small amount though, so it's not a big deal. But that's the first step, is get the tank all the way off. And there's also another little electrical connection right in here, and there's just a tab you want to push and then pull it off of the tank. Alright, so now that the tank is completely off, there's two things you want to do. You want to come around to this side, and you'll see this intake vent for the engine from the airbox. Now there's usually two clamps around there. I took this clamp off, the one closest to the engine. It does make it easier if you just take it all the way off, especially when you want to put it back together. It's going to make it easier. But you might be able to just loosen both of them. But either way, I loosened this one and I took this one all the way off. And now the other thing you're going to want to do is come up here and loosen that screw right in there. Let me point to it for you. You're going to want to loosen that screw right there. And that connects this air boot to your throttle body. And once that's loosened, then it's going to be easier for you to get this, to pivot this so that you can access the two screws for the throttle position sensor, which is right down in there. You can see one screw right there and two screws, the second screw down right there. So that's what we're going to do. And in order to do that, what you got to do is grab on, you can either grab on to this gas pipe here or this down here, and you're going to want to pull it back and to the left, so kind of like this. And that is going to take the air intake off. And you can even take your other hand and go down here and pull from the air intake as you're pulling this way. And that is going to pivot the throttle body just enough so that you can hold it and get to these screws at the same time. Okay, so I just did exactly that. I pulled this way, and with my right hand I grabbed the end of that rubber intake and pulled this way so that the whole thing pivoted like this. And now when I'm pulling on it like that, you can see I can access those two screws pretty easily. My wrench will fit right in there. Alright, so you can see that you can still access the diagnostic mode even with the tank off. It doesn't matter. So now that I've loosened these two screws, I can move this like that. See how it pivots on the actual screw holes? That's how people are taking a mallet to it, or a hammer and a punch. But without those two screws loosened, you know, that thing is pretty tight on there, so you might damage something. So it's probably better to just loosen them first, and then you can adjust it how you want it. See, I can see it's moving from 4 to 27. 4 to 27. So I'm going to try different settings one by one and see which one works the best. Okay, now that you've tightened up your TPS sensor on the setting that you want to try, it can be a little tricky to get that air intake back onto the engine hole. So what I do is use my right hand to basically push it over the hole, and then at the same time I'm kind of pushing down with my left hand onto the throttle body, and you'll get it. It will just push right back on. If you want to take it for a little test ride before you put everything back together, once you put the tank on, as long as you just put this screw in here and then put your seat on, it should be fine to just go and test it. Now the other thing you might want to do is check your idle after you've adjusted the TPS. So if you don't know how to check your RPMs, what you want to do is almost similar to what we already did to get into the TPS setting, but hold down both reset and select one, then turn your key, keep holding them down. It's going to say diag. Then once it says diag, release, and then push down, select one, and let go. And then you're going to see something that says C0. And then you can press and hold both of reset one and select one again. Hold down for a few seconds, and then it's going to show a number up here and C1. Now if you did the mod to adjust the fuel injection, then you can hold these two down again, and then it's going to show you your setting for your fuel injection, which I have right now at 4, or you can change it like that. Now you can adjust the RPMs with the fuel injection, but that's not really the best way to do it. You want to come down and use the idle screw right in there. This right here. So the factory recommends 1550 to 1650 RPMs at idle. So you probably want to get it in that range somewhere. Hey guys, so I finished doing the mod. Unfortunately, it doesn't really seem to make much of a difference for me. I tried 17, 18, 19, and went all the way up to 24. But yeah, if you've read the forums, then you know that this mod seems to make a huge difference for some people, and for others it just doesn't really do anything. So unfortunately, it didn't fix the problem. So I might go and try a throttle tamer next, and if I really get annoyed by it, then I might go to a field programmer, but I'd rather not. I'm totally satisfied with the power that this bike makes, so I hate to spend money on a field programmer just to try and improve the down low twitchiness, but whatever, I'll see what I can do. So I'm going to put the video up anyway, just because there were no other videos on doing this, and it can be a little tricky. So hopefully it helps you guys out. One small tip: when you put the gas tank back on, just make sure that the fuel line isn't kinked at all, because that happened to me, and it was confusing the hell out of me for like a half hour trying to figure out why I had all these dead spots in my RPM range, and it's because the fuel line was kinked. So that's just one thing to look for, but other than that, I hope that this video helps you, and see you on the next one.